Hello everyone. This week's rental is the 2003 Chevrolet Camaro. Now, I covered some other Camaros in the past, the V6 model and the higher V8 LT1 model. I just wanted to cover this car because this is the base model, which actually comes with a inline 4 turbocharged engine, which is surprising because I wasn't even aware that Chevy made a variant like this. I know that the Mustang convertible had an inline 4 turbocharged engine. They call it their EcoBoost, and this is probably Chevrolet's version of it. Either way, there's really not much difference from styling and interior with this new 2023 Camaro. Interior is the same as well. Whatever changes were made were really subtle, which I wouldn't even notice. Even the interior is pretty much the same. Really snug fits. Some couple blind spots on here as well. I did notice that this display on this base model is significantly smaller. It looks like it's a 5 or 6 inch screen, but what's cool is that Android Auto is wireless, so you don't have to be plugged up to the USB ports, and everything is pretty much bare bones in this vehicle. You could change driving modes, but that's about it. Technology wise, you have your infotainment system. There's really no safety features, so when you're driving this car, you're gonna have to be pretty old school about it, because it does have blind spots, so you're gonna have to look over your shoulders. There's no lane departure or anything, so it's a pretty wide and long hooded vehicle, so you have to be mindful of that as well too. But overall, once you get used to it, it still provides the same type of driving experience that the Camaro offers, even with this inline 4 turbocharged engine. So speaking of that, let's take this car on the road and see how the smaller engine, turbocharged engine, compares to maybe the V6 or the V8 LT1. Alright, so driving in this turbocharged inline 4 Chevrolet Camaro, you get pretty much the same driving experience that you would from the other trim Camaros, like the V6 and the V8. There are, subtle differences. I mean, for the most part, suspension is stiff, handling is tight, braking is responsive. The only real difference is the power delivery. since it's powered by a smaller engine with the turbo, there's kind of a delay in response time. Not that much of a delay. With the V6 and the V8, once you press on the gas pedal, you get instant response. For this one, since it's turbo, you get a little bit of turbo lag. So what I mean is, once you press on it, it takes a little bit and then it revs up and then it powers up. But that doesn't affect the day-to-day driving experience. You're never really underpowered. There's always plenty of power on here, and for the most part, this is the most tamed brand Camaro that you would get. The V8s have a distinctive muscle car engine growl with the loud exhaust. The V6 has less of that engine growl, but it does have a throatier, rattier exhaust note to it. This one's actually pretty subtle. At cruising speeds, you could barely hear anything unless you step on the gas like so.
Half a mile, keep left at the fort.
When you step on that gas, you could really hear the engine and the exhaust note. But at cruising speeds like right now, you could barely hear anything. It's actually quite comfortable. So this might play into a certain brand of drivers and customers who may not want the sporty loudness of the higher powered Camaro. So this one, maybe if you like the styling of the Camaro, but not necessarily the performance, you could sacrifice a little bit of the performance, then this may just be the car for you. Overall, I really quite enjoy this as a rental car, being it as an inline 4 and also turbocharged. It does a little bit better on gas mileage, so that's also another thing to keep in mind. It does have a very big gas tank, a 19-gallon gas tank, and it can take regular fuel, but it is still considered a muscle car, so it will the gas mileage won't be as great as more economical cars. The only other muscle car that has, as I mentioned earlier, that has a turbo inline 4 would be the Mustang. And if I were to compare this to the Mustang, I would give this one slightly better, a nod to this one, just slightly. They're very comparable. The Mustang is a little bit more comfortable and has some more safety technology on here, but this is pure raw driving experience. You have to be pretty much engaged and practice active driving throughout, because there's really no safety. It's pretty much old school driving. You got to check your blind spots when you change lanes. You got to be careful because it is a wide car. But overall, it's an affordable way to get a muscle car and still have a good balance between power and performance. I would rate this as a B for a rental car. It is a little bit snug cockpit room, so It's not the greatest on long distance road trips, but I kind of like it. I like the cozy feeling of it. There's something about that where it just keeps you more engaged while driving. But yeah, of course, only rent this if you were to be driving by yourself. Space is very limited. This is considered a sports car, so there you have it. I'm going to actually test this this car out in its elements in the curvy, twisty roads. These muscle cars are known to be fast in a straight line, but I'm going to take it into the hills and into the curves and twists and see how it performs. All right, doing a road test night drive in the twisties up in the hills in this Chevrolet Camaro inline 4 with the turbo. Let's see how it performs. Hopefully there's not a lot of traffic so we can have some fun. All right, here we go. Starting out with an S-curve, winding curves, really no cars. Feel the weight. It hugs the curves pretty nicely, but I do have to slow down because the weight of the car makes it a little bit squirrely. And the turbo barely has any time to kick in with all of these turns. Let's see if we can pass this fella up. Here we go. Break into another winding S-curve. I'm going to take the inside route. No cars, so I'll just take the middle lane. Alright, I was able to accelerate through. honestly, if this car was lighter, it would just kill in those turns. Overall, I'm pretty impressed.